So what shows and performances do I think are going to win at the 2025 Tony Awards? Surprise! You might be surprised by this one. I have never talked about the Tony Awards on my YouTube channel. But there's a reason I called this the awards contender, not the Oscar contender, because occasionally, guys, I like to mix things up, talk about the Emmys, and now here I am talking about the upcoming Tony Awards, hosted by Cynthia Erivo, airing on June 8th. Something you might not know about me is that I love live theater. I try to go as much as possible, like locally, and then once in a while I get to New York every few years and I see some shows. I don't go as often as I'd like. So you might be asking yourself, Brian, have you seen any of these shows you're about to talk about? Well, I saw one. Last summer, I went to Chicago to see my friend Cody Derricks, a frequent contributor to the YouTube channel, and we saw Death Becomes Her. I had such a blast with Death Becomes Her. It completely bowled me over. As a huge fan of the 1992 film, I went in with some trepidation. I wasn't sure, but this thing blew me away. The performances, the songs, the production design. I really hope Death Becomes Her wins some Tonys in a few days. I'm so happy it got as many nominations as it did, and got 2 nominations in Best Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical. That was awesome. Now, am I going to predict wins for Death Becomes Her in this video? Well, you just have to wait and find out. So I'm not going to touch on every category. We would be here a while. I'm doing the top 8, like the 4 lead performance categories and the 4 main show categories, including revival. Let's start with Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Play. The nominees are George Clooney, Good Night and Good Luck, Cole Escola, Oh Mary, John Michael Hill, Purpose, Daniel Day Kim, Yellowface, Harry Lennox, Purpose, and Louis McCartney, Stranger Things, The First Shadow. So I know I haven't seen these shows. I'm just going off of research. I looked around a lot this morning at different prediction sites, different prediction videos, getting a sense of what people think might win. And going through the different lists and looking at this category, I think Cole Escola has this in the bag. I have been hearing so many great things about Oh Mary the last few months. I have seen this actor in profiles, on CBS and stuff. I've seen him in interviews. There's been a lot of really good marketing for this show, which is a dark comedy about Mary Todd Lincoln in the weeks leading up to the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. It did very well at the Tonys, got a lot of nominations, and Cole Escola is supposed to be just freaking amazing in this show. So funny. A total original, I would say. Now, who else could win here? I've heard good things about Daniel Day Kim in Yellowface. That's a show I'm going to talk about coming up here. George Clooney. He is the biggest name in the category. Could Clooney win this? I feel like Good Night and Good Luck, the new stage show based on that film, it didn't do as well in terms of nominations and other categories and stuff. So I don't think Clooney gets this. I think the nomination is the win for Clooney here. My final prediction and Best Actor in a Leading Role in a Play is Cole Escola, Oh Mary. Next up is Best Performance by a Leading Actress in a Play. The nominees are Laura Donnelly, The Hills of California, Mia Farrow, The Roommate, LaTanya Richardson Jackson, Purpose, Sadie Sink, John Proctor is the Villain, and Sarah Snook, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Now, first off, can I just say how cool it is that Mia Farrow got her first Tony Award nomination? She's never received an Oscar nomination, an Emmy nomination. You look back on her career in film, in theater, all of it, and she never gets recognized very much. I was happy to see Farrow get in here. I don't think she's going to win. I've seen some prediction sites say that Laura Donnelly could win this for The Hills of California, but I'm going with Sarah Snook. I think Sarah Snook is probably going to win this for The Picture of Dorian Gray. Apparently, she is phenomenal in this show, plays a variety of characters. She's so talented. She was so freaking good on Succession. She got some awards for that show, of course, and now here she is on Broadway with The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I would love to see. Oh my God, that's one of my favorite stories. I love the novel, the film adaptations, the 40s version of that story with Angela Lansbury is so great. So to see like a new version of that show on Broadway with Sarah Snook playing many characters throughout the show, man, like I would love to see it. And I do think she's going to win. My final prediction in this category is Sarah Snook, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Next is Best Revival of a Play. The nominees are Eureka Day, Thornton Wilder's Our Town, Romeo and Juliet, and Yellowface. So from what I've looked at, the two that are leading the way here are Eureka Day and Yellowface. Those seem to be the two that could win. I mean, the other two we are all super familiar with, right? Our Town and Romeo and Juliet. Because those productions are more familiar to all of us, like could one of those maybe win? I don't know. Romeo and Juliet, I've heard a lot about the last few weeks, like with Kit Connor, right? He's in that. That's another one I would love to see. I just want to move to New York for like 2 months and see all of these shows. Like, if I had the money to do it, like if I had the time, you know, that would be really fun for me. Even just a week of like a ton of Broadway shows. I don't know. I'm definitely feeling some FOMO, right, when it comes to Broadway right now, looking at all of these nominees with the Tony Awards just days away. I think after I watch the show, I am going to probably like book a ticket to New York this summer and try to see a few things. We shall see. I'm hearing great things about Eureka Day, but I'm going to go with Yellowface. This show sounds really interesting. It sounds kind of meta. It's a semi-autobiographical play featuring the author himself in the show who's mounting his 1993 play Face Value, and the show deals with media and politics. It sounds really fascinating. And I'm hearing amazing things. It's got a great cast. So in this category, anything can happen, really. I'm not too confident about this one, but my final prediction for Best Revival of a Play is Yellowface. And then Best Play. The nominees are English, The Hills of California, John Proctor is the Villain, Oh Mary, and Purpose. So the question is, will Oh Mary not only win Best Actor for Cola Scola, but also win Best Play? I feel like it's possible Escola takes actor, but then a different show wins Best Play. Maybe they think we don't need to give it both, but I don't know. Is there enough buzz on any of these other titles? Like, I heard good things about John Proctor as the villain. The Hills of California is supposed to be amazing. Going into my research this morning, the show I had heard about the most by far was Oh Mary. I see it all over social media. I've seen it in interviews and all sorts of places. I just feel like Oh Mary in Best Play is the most talked about show of the year, one of the best shows of the year easily. I mean, it's a comedy. Does that hurt its chances? Does it have to be dramatic to win Best Play at the Tonys? I'm not even sure about that. I feel like comedies do well, right? In musical, in play. So yeah, I mean, it would be weird for me to just go out on a limb and predict one of these other 4 titles. I wouldn't feel very confident doing that. So in Best Play, my final prediction to win is Oh Mary. Okay, so now we get to the musical categories. I'm going to talk about the top 4, starting with Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Musical. The nominees are Darren Criss, Maybe Happy Ending, Andrew Durand, Dead Outlaw, Tom Francis, Sunset Boulevard, Jonathan Groff, Just in Time, James Monroe, Iglehart, A Wonderful World, and Jeremy Jordan, Floyd Collins. Alright, so this is a very tough one to predict. I've gone back and forth on 3 names, not just 2 here. Like an hour ago, I was leaning toward one. I think it'll probably be him. And then I changed my mind, and then I've changed it again. So, like, this is a tough one to predict. I thought at first Jonathan Groff made the most sense. He just won a year ago at the Tonys in this same category, right? For Merrily We Roll Along. He's back with Just in Time playing Bobby Darin, and he is supposed to be, as expected, just phenomenal in that show. So I feel like Groff could win this, but Just in Time doesn't really show up anywhere else in these top categories, whereas Maybe Happy Ending might win Best Musical. So would that help Darren Criss's chances if Maybe Happy Ending wins like the top prize? I mean, I don't know. I don't think the Tonys works like that. I don't think like just because the show wins the top prize, necessarily like the main actors are also going to win in the acting categories. But I was kind of leaning toward Chris a little bit, but then I looked at some prediction websites and they're saying Tom Francis for Sunset Boulevard might win. So I've heard amazing things about that revival too, Sunset Boulevard. Like maybe that could win both leading actor and leading actress, like that's possible too. So I don't know, it's hard because I kind of want to go with Groff. He seems like he has the most momentum right now, given that he won last year. And then I thought, well, does that hurt Jonathan Groff because he just won? Maybe they'll want to go with someone different. I don't know. I'm really torn on this one. It might just be Groff. Maybe I'm overthinking this because Jonathan Groff is a star, man. He is such a great talent in film, television, and in theater, of course. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning toward Darren Criss. I feel like they might want to give it to someone new this year. Maybe Happy Ending is supposed to be just a spectacular show. Really revolutionary in its construction, in its storytelling. I might live to regret this, I don't know. But my final prediction for Best Leading Actor in a Musical is Darren Criss, maybe Happy Ending. And then Best Performance by a Leading Actress in a Musical, the nominees are Megan Hilty, Death Becomes Her, Audra McDonald, Gypsy, Jasmine Amy Rogers, Boop the Musical, Nicole Scherzinger, Sunset Boulevard, and Jennifer Samard, Death Becomes Her. I cannot tell you how much my heart is filled with joy to see both of those incredible lead female performances in Death Becomes Her on this list. They could have just nominated Hilty. She's a little bit more like the showstopper in that, I would say, but like Simard is so freaking hilarious in that show. And to see them both on Tony nominations morning totally thrilled me. I couldn't believe it, man, that they both got in. Now, do they cancel each other out? Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite of those two. They're both so great in Death Becomes Her. I don't see either one winning here. I just think the competition is too fierce. I wouldn't even put like Hilty or Samard like in second place. I think at best it's like third place. I think this category comes down to Audra McDonald and Nicole Scherzinger. Now, most of the prediction sites I've looked at are predicting Audra McDonald for Gypsy, and that makes total sense. She's won a ton of Tonys before, has been nominated all over the place. Gypsy is a very difficult show. I've heard a lot about how that's a tough role to play. So McDonald is such a favorite from the Tonys. It would make sense for her to win. But I'm going with Nicole Scherzinger. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. It's probably just going to be McDonald. It's probably going to be McDonald and Jonathan Groff. But here's the deal. Sunset Boulevard holds a special place in my heart as a story, as a film. That is my favorite movie. I've seen it on Broadway with Glenn Close in 2017. That was a thrill. I loved watching that. And then this new version of Sunset Boulevard is supposed to be kind of a brand new thing, revolutionary, a different take on the story in its production. And I'm hearing just raves about Nicole Scherzinger as Norma Desmond. And so if there's anyone who can beat McDonald, I feel like Scherzinger could do it. It might be close, like really close. McDonald might just win at the end of the day. But my final prediction in this category is Nicole Scherzinger in Sunset Boulevard. 2 categories left. Next up, we have Best Revival of a Musical. The nominees are Floyd Collins, Gypsy, Pirates, The Penzance Musical, and Sunset Boulevard. So I do think this is one of the easier calls, I would say. It could be Gypsy, maybe, especially if McDonald wins Best Actress. But I think even if Scherzinger loses, Sunset Boulevard, I still think is going to win this. Pretty much the consensus on every predictions website said Sunset Boulevard was taking this category, especially because it's such an original new vision of this story on the stage. Apparently it's very ambitious and different and new, and they hit it out of the park, man. If there's one show on this entire list of nominations that I would love to see, actually, it is the new version of Sunset Boulevard. As a huge fan of the film, after having seen it on stage in 2017 with Glenn Close, I would love to check out this new version. So if I get a chance to go to New York, like if that happens, I'm definitely putting Sunset Boulevard right at the top of the list I wouldn't say it's winning this 100%, but I would put it at like 99% maybe. My final prediction in Best Revival of a Musical at this year's Tonys is Sunset Boulevard. And then finally, Best Musical. The nominees are Buena Vista Social Club, Dead Outlaw, Death Becomes Her, Maybe Happy Ending, and Operation Mincemeat. So again, Death Becomes Her. Death Becomes Her. What a thrill that was a year ago, seeing that in Chicago. I mean, I was like, oh man, are they gonna mess up one of my favorite movies? I grew up with Death Becomes Her, like starting at age 8 when I first saw it in the theater. Like that was the movie for me. That's the film that introduced me really to Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep, and I was obsessed with Death Becomes Her when I was a kid. And so when I first heard they were doing like a musical version on the stage, I got excited. But I was like, I don't know, like maybe they're really gonna mess it up, right? And they didn't. They did such a good job with that. It works for fans of the film, and it just works if you've never seen the movie. I just think it is a beautifully done production. I'm so happy it got into Best Musical. I would love to predict it here because I think it deserves to win. And if they announce the winner for Best Musical of the Year as Death Becomes Her, I will jump off my couch and cheer. That'll be awesome. But I don't think it's going to be Death Becomes Her. That's not the sense I'm getting. It might not even be in second place. I think the winner of Best Musical at this year's Tonys is going to be maybe Happy Ending. That's the show of these 5 nominees I've really been reading about the most as something truly extraordinary. A fantastic concept that follows 2 lifelike helper bots who discover each other in Seoul later in the 21st century and develop a connection. I think it's just the 2 actors in the entire show. There's no intermission, and apparently you immediately fall under this show's spell. It's supposed to be beautifully done in every facet, like from the production value to the performances. Darren Criss, as I said earlier in this video, I do think has a very good chance of winning. He is my prediction. But even if he doesn't win, if Jonathan Groff ends up pulling that off again for the 2nd year in a row, Best Actor in a Musical, I still think Best Musical at the end of the night, like it's the final category they reveal, right? I'm pretty sure. I think it's going to maybe Happy Ending. From everything I've read about this year's Tonys and all the nominees, this seems to be one of the great shows of the year. And so my final prediction to win Best Musical at the 2025 Tony Awards is maybe Happy Ending. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below what do you think is going to win at this year's Tony Awards, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.